This was the first technique that actually helped me. It's a way to actually do my work, remember it, and get better grades. My grades have improved so much. I'm getting A's and B's.
I wouldn't say it's like a pain doing homework, but having those breaks is almost like a pleasure. I find it really useful, like it helps me recall more information.
Studying in intervals. I think you recommended 40-minute intervals or 30-minute, and you said for me it might be more around 20. And when you take a break or when you stop studying for the night, to stop on a decline. So when you, rather than an incline, like if you're on a hill, for instance, like in a car, because when you go back to study, it'll be a lot easier to just, if you're going downhill, it's a lot easier than going uphill.
I've been trying to work on when I start studying to try to get to a point where I get over the hill before I stop, so that when I come back it's not as hard. Motivation is really hard for me right now, so I'm like, if I can just get started.
I would used to just read until I would zone out and then take an hour break and then go back, and that would take a long time.
When I do procrastinate, I have to sit down and do the entire paper one time. And the next time I do a paper, it's like, I don't want to, I can't do it, like it's gonna drain so much out of me.
I was actually studying all night with a friend, because we had the same class, we had it together. Studying all night and studying up until the test, till we took the test. And I didn't do bad, I did pretty good, but like some of the questions that I got wrong, after the test was over and we were, discussing, I was like, oh my gosh, I knew that. Why did I put this answer?
I would watch a movie or taking movie breaks while reading, and that was just really dumb. It was really wasteful too.
When I used to study, I would get to a big theory that I would have learned in class, or I would have it in my notes, and I would kind of study it. I wouldn't really fully understand it, and then I would keep going, or I would stop, for instance, and then I'd go back and I'd be like, oh wow, I have to study this all over again. I didn't actually fully learn it. I've been studying short and in bursts. I used to try to go for hours at a time. I would take breaks, but they wouldn't be that efficient. I would usually get on Facebook or my phone. So I usually walk around. I'm in the library when I study, so I can walk around and get water, and that helps. I'll go back. Usually I'll have time to let it sink in. I feel like it will have, for math at least, I will have remembered equations a lot easier.
Depends on what class, but so if we have a book for that class and homework as well, I'll read let's say I read chapter 1 in the book, and then I'll take a brief break and then go do the homework and see what I can recall from the chapter 1, and then all the answers I get wrong, I go back and study that, and then pause for a little bit, and then go back and do the homework again until I get them all right.
See, I've written 4 papers now, so it really helps a lot. It took me a little bit to identify when I needed to take a break, because some people it takes 20 minutes, 30 minutes. When I find myself not thinking about the material or having to go back and read something, then that was my time. And it's about 12 to 15 minutes. And it's usually a 5-minute break. And then I can go back with full force again.
Now I take 5-minute breaks in between 15 minutes of reading.
Well, my first break, I usually don't take that long of a break because I want to do the homework or the review as fast as I can after I read the chapter, so maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And then from that, I go to about 15 minutes, and then I'll take a 30-minute break before I review the whole chapter again.
Papers, any kind of reading, any articles, studying notes, any class material really, I'd use it, because if not I get sidetracked and it's I can't focus on the material that I'm looking at for longer than 15 minutes.
I have a literature course and 2 biology courses, so most of the time it's just reading.
It's made a difference, at least for especially my math classes, because I've always struggled with that, and I'm finally having to take a lot of my econ classes for my business major. So I feel like I study a lot more efficiently now because I think studying math is a lot different than studying any other subject.
Instead of sitting and writing, a whole paper, writing it, say 5 pages, writing it all, take and write, a page or 2 pages, and then come back and, you can edit the first 2 pages, so your ideas are flowing more. You're not just sitting there stressing about finishing the paper in time. So that helped me with writing more. I think my writing has strengthened.
I actually did it for my auditing class, and I had an exam for it on Monday, and I ended up getting a B in it, so it's very useful. For reading, I definitely know when it's time for a break when I read a whole paragraph and I can't really recall or explain what happened in that paragraph.
I remember you told me that you wanted me to see how long it would take for me to start losing concentration, and it was right around the 15-minute mark. So after a while, after it kept happening, I was like, maybe I should just set a timer for 15 minutes and just stop there, because I was still reading after 15 minutes, but I wasn't remembering anything. I was just looking at blank, it would just turn to lines of blah, and I was like, oh, okay. I don't understand anymore. And then I noticed that when I would go back later, after I would lose that concentration, I wouldn't understand all these terms and stuff, and I would always think to myself, what does that mean? After the break, I would go back and read it, and I was like, oh, that's actually very simple. I just couldn't at that moment understand.
It's actually really, that's hard for me. Right now I'm working on that with bio. It really stressed out. When I get stressed out, my brain shuts down. So that's when I stop, is when I feel like, oh, there's so much, I can't do it, And it is harder for me to come back, because I'm like, oh, I know I have to go back and do that. And it was hard the first time, so I know it's going to be hard the second time. Eventually it gets done, but that's my weakness, coming back for things that stress me out.
So in my class, we're reading about air pollution, and they would start talking about an OH bond, and how it cleanses the air, stuff like that. And once it starts getting all chemically complicated, I was just like, okay, I'll take a break at this part.
Don't stop on an uphill. Make sure one thing I do during my breaks is that I do brainstorm. So if I am kind of stuck, because sometimes it's hard to get past a point and you have to just step away. So I'll take the time to brainstorm. I'll take a sheet of notebook paper and just write, do doodles of what the material is, to kind of be able to go downhill after that. I do anything from switching subjects. I'll go outside, ride the 4-wheeler, I told you before, doodle, turn on the TV, listen to music, something besides the piece of information or material I was working on. One time I did my health comm in the living room and my history rock and roll in the kitchen. So when I was taking my break, I would just run into the kitchen and do the history rock and roll. When I got bored or uncomprehensive what I was doing with that, I just go back in the living room working on the other paper.
I would set my timer for 5 minutes. Then I would probably text someone or maybe watch a YouTube video or something that would relax me a little bit. And then I'll go back to it and then start the whole process over again.
I'm busting out papers left and right. It's crazy. I got a 90 on a paper. I got an A on my rock and roll paper. It's blowing me away. I don't see it failing for me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like as much work at all. Because I know, if you're trying to cram for a test and trying to learn 3 chapters, 4 chapters, and that feels like a lot of work. But if you learn just a little bit at a time throughout the week, it's really not that bad.
At first it was kind of weird, but I think I'll keep doing it. It's more time efficient for me.
By doing it in the small time increments, it's not exhausting to you. You can come back to it with ease. It's so much easier.
I'm not as worried, at least, about studying as I used to be, because I know when I traditionally thought of studying, I would think about staying up late, stuff like that. I don't do that as much anymore, which has, I think, had like a major impact on my sleep, because I can actually go to bed at a reasonable hour now, rather than have to stay up cramming for tests that I had plenty of time throughout the week to study for. So I think exam week will definitely go a lot better than it has in the past. I think I'm on better terms with a lot of my teachers now, because I feel like I speak up a little bit more.
I love this strategy so much. I really do. My mom and dad do get mad at me though, because they're like, why are you going outside? Do your homework. And I'm like, I just need my break. When I go back and work on it and like I get it done faster than I did before, because I'm not sidetracked in the middle of it, they're like, whoa, like I guess you can take breaks when you do it. I was like, that's all I gotta do, Mom. That's all I gotta do.